Hi. Hello and welcome back to the Brawl Bros or Block Bros podcast. I'm Jack, and this is a different week. We're doing a sort of theme. Like, I've been watching way too many documentaries about Chernobyl, and I wanted to sit here and talk. So I dragged the boys. So I dragged Fultz,
Hello.
Campbell,
Hello.
Beth,
Hi.
and Joe.
Hi.
So I've got Fultz who studies science and will probably correct every single term I say, and like I've got definitions here that I'm gonna explain in a sec, and he's probably gonna tell me that I'm all wrong and I just basically have wasted like hours of my life
I don't know,
writing
depends
this.
where you get it from. Was it from Google?
I can't remember. It was a mixture of YouTube videos and Google.
Okay.
So probably all wrong. But anyway, I've actually been missing from the podcast. I've been making nuggets, and this lot have been doing it, and it's been a bit strange. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we gave up. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Okay, but we couldn't do it without you.
I was sat driving the other week, and I put the podcast on just to hear what was
What
going
was it,
on.
the latest episode?
Yeah,
That
it was
one
the
where
latest
literally no one
episode.
spoke other than Campbell and Joe.
It was like
no
Joe
one
and
else
Campbell
spoke.
with like the occasional like laugh of someone trying to keep a straight face.
Yeah.
That's because Jack Reed was doing something very funny.
Yeah, bro.
And then I was hitting my head with a fucking wooden panel.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow! I haven't missed much then.
Yeah.
But no, so we're sort of changing it up and adding like themes. Like I know Joe wants to do some stuff about paranormal activity and stuff.
No.
Whoopee.
Spoilers.
I just have-
spoilers.
Yeah, jeez. You
Jeez.
can't you can't leak our Google Doc like that, homie.
Leak for future episodes of the Block Bros. Whoo! Also, I'm planning on making a shared Google email at some point, probably in the next episode. That if you guys do actually listen to this and give a goddamn fuck, you can email us questions and we will help you with your life advice. Okay?
We will.
It's the bros life advice, okay? So if anyone is listening, we'll next episode at the start we'll drop an email and you can email us and or you can follow any of us on Twitter or Twitch and we'll probably put it on there. But you can email us for some life advice and we'll do our best with oh
If
god.
it's mental health advice, I've got this, homie.
Anyway, onto like the actual episode. So, right, Chernobyl. It's fucking
It's
this.
nuclear.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm
So
doing this.
it's. I don't know what to start. Like maybe I should start with like some terms I'm going to use and then sort of summarize what happened, and then we can sort of discuss. And I've got some like other stuff about how it affected other places.
Sounds
so,
like uni, and it's like, right, we'll discuss about it. We'll have a great discussion, and then we'll split off into little groups, and we'll do little activities, and we'll come back together at the end.
So this coloring book with diagrams that I want you to annotate. Should I put that away then?
Yeah.
Is this the
No, keep them out.
Is this the RBMK reactor diagram? Because I'm looking at it right now.
No, it's not. I haven't actually got any diagrams because we're doing a podcast, so it's a bit weird to use images.
Yeah, no, I've got it open mostly for my own reference.
So right, some terms that are probably important and probably going to come up throughout this whole episode. Nuclear.
What? No.
It's
fuck
it's
off.
the center of an
What
atom
is it?
containing protons and neutrons.
It's the
Oh,
nucleus.
Christ.
That's the nucleus, not nuclear.
I'm already off to a bad start.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
protons.
As soon as he said that's the center, I was like, nah.
Okay. Next one. Proton.
Neurons in a
Nuke-
cell.
Nuclear particle containing a positive charge and defines what an element an atom is.
What's that? Sorry.
Protons.
Proton is
Contains
a
a positive charge and defines
positive
what
charge.
element an atom is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
We're doomed.
Neutron, the opposite.
No, neutron's neutral.
Yeah, it's the opposite of proton.
Yeah,
Pro-
but it's not. It's not.
it's not
It's
really
not.
though.
Neutral.
The opposite
Uh,
of positive is negative. Not
If you
neutral.
have two fewer neutrons, a nucleus will fall apart. and also
Yes.
you can have multiple different forms of protons. So carbon, you can get carbon 5, carbon 8, and carbon 9, which are
Yeah.
different forms,
Isotopes.
and they're an isotope, which is a different form of an atom.
If it
Are you
Fox
gonna
is
talk
clapping
about
me, okay? Fox is
electrons?
clapping me. I left school years ago and fucked up my science, so I feel like so proud right now. I'm like,
I
the
feel like
man
we're
who's-
leaving out electrons, and electrons are quite cool. I think.
electrons don't get used at all in nuclear physics.
Not in
Well-
isotopes. Not in isotopes. They're not
There's
needed.
also unstable isotopes that has too many or too few neutrons, which will emit energy, which is also known as radioactive decay, which has a
Big up-
byproduct of heat, which is how some and one type of nuclear reactors happen. I got there, right? That's one type. There's also fusion, that two atoms become one atom. Am I on?
Well,
am
I mean, it's
right?
kind
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah.
Kaboom!
And then there's
In
fission,
very simple terms.
and then there's fission, where one atom breaks into two atoms, and the leftover atoms are always lighter than the original, and that spare mass becomes energy, which is actually like the most common equation, which is E equals mc squared. That is that equation. Fission is that equation. Big brain Jack. I know, I'm pulling it all out today.
God, every corner of the brain right here.
The product of fission is unstable isotopes, which is how heat is created. Even after radioactive decay, they still create heat, and the heat goes into fuel and gets hotter and hotter and can melt through anything. And if it's not controlled, that is known as a meltdown. Joe is currently naked. I'm just
I don't have a
naming
top on.
science terms and like big braining 100% here, and Joe is just naked.
Hey,
He's just coming in here with his
seems
tits out.
sus. That seems sus for a podcast right now. I'm not like
Pussy back
butt
up.
naked showing everyone. Okay,
Yeah, you are.
I have
Oh.
a blanket
Right,
over
right.
me, and just because he's seen my shoulder, he thought I was butt
Put it away,
naked.
Joe. Put it away.
So
Okay.
anyway, back to the
Love
type.
you.
So basically, the main way a nuclear reactor works is with fission, one atom becoming two, and the leftover products becoming energy, which is also then turned into heat, creating lots of heat, which then powers a turbine. And it's sort of like a cycle. That is, in simple, how a nuclear reactor works.
Very
Any-
simple.
It is
They're
very
very
simple, yeah.
Simple, fucking dumbed down version. There's a lot more that goes into it. It's not that easy. Otherwise, everyone would fucking have one in their back garden.
I don't know about that.
Could you imagine?
Right. So, anyone got anything they want to say or add in at this point? Have I fucked up at all?
Not really. I'd probably say key terms, probably maybe. Well, if you're talking more general sense about nuclear stuff, probably add like Half-Life and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Half-Life's probably a
Not the
good
game,
one
Joe.
to.
Half-
Half-Life,
back
like the
down.
video game,
Half-Life, Ali.
with the gravity gun,
I do pum to
and
pum.
like the face monsters.
But I can't think of anything else like
Wow.
to link it that much.
Ah, my
No. So I
phone.
think
You
I
could
covered,
get-
like, the general terms that might be used today because.
I
yeah,
mean,
thought
you
I had to
could
rest
get
it.
more into like the types of reactors, but well, that's either for later in the podcast or nobody gives a shit. So
I didn't
Face
write that
huggers,
much
that's what they're
down.
called. Sorry, guys.
I didn't write about different types of reactors. Fuck that shit.
I'm researching it now.
Hey yo, did you
I
write
did
about
write
the
something
elephant's
down
foot?
about there is a product that became because of Chernobyl was created called like it's like nucleus or something like that, which is a product of like a reactor meltdown combined with steel and cement and that.
Joe's weakling.
The elephant's foot.
Yeah, that is what the elephant's foot is.
Elephant
Yeah, I know.
foot
We're sort of
It's
skipping
like-
ahead. We're sort of skipping ahead here.
is like a
that is-
kebab.
That is like a new
really is not.
material that was created
Alan-
thanks to this.
It's a donomeat. You know the donomeat that spins around? That looks like an elephant foot.
And that's just
Nah.
like an elephant foot.
So,
yeah, I
there
had
are-
donomeat
there's only
today as well. I
three-
put it on my pizza.
3 scenarios where that material is actually being created in the wild. which was Chernobyl, the Japan one where the meltdown
Fukushima.
happened. Yeah. And there was one more which I can't remember off my head. I didn't actually write this down. Probably should've.
5 Mile Island, was it not?
Yes. So that's the only time that this compound is. We're skipping way ahead here. But that's the only time
Okay.
this new compound has been made in the wild. However, scientists have made that in a laboratory and actually been able to control it. And
Jack,
it burns at 2,000 degrees something. It's like almost like half the temperature of the sun. It's stupid,
It's feeling hot.
but it's
Joe,
pretty cool. The
Joe, what
fact
you gonna
we've
say?
you're really smart, so why do I have a penis?
you're a boy.
Why don't
You
you
have
have
a-
a penis?
You have a penis.
No, saying why don't? you
Oh,
have a
you're a girl. Do you have a hole?
I have
Just left to just go cool.
What the fuck?
Do you have a hole?
Oh, you have hole.
You have holes.
Oh my
Anyway.
god, what a question.
Fucking hell.
Question of the
Jack, gonna-
podcast.
Jack,
Do
gonna
you have a
accept that.
hole?
Hold on.
So,
He's so smart.
let's start this all. Now we've gone over terms and stuff. Let's go all the way back to 1977 in the Soviet Union
That's the
area.
year Campbell was born. 'Cause he's old.
Yeah, Campbell may have been
Wait.
born there. So in 1977 and 1978, they opened their first two reactors, which was Reactor 1 and Reactor 2. Then in 1981, 4 years on, actually
That's
3
when he
years
was
on,
born.
Reactor 3 came out. And then an additional 2 years later, in 1983, Reactor 4 came out. And Reactor
Yeah.
4 was
Yeah,
when
let's
this
go.
happened.
They shouldn't have
Reactor
bothered.
4 was actually their newest reactor, which is
Yeah, it
more
was.
terrifying.
It was.
Lamau. That means
And
how all expensive.
It's- no, no. No, it's no, it's like
Oh.
they still use the fucking
Yes.
other ones.
They
They still use the
no,
old ones.
they still
they?
used all of the nuclear reactors until 2000, but they still use all of the equipment in the in the power plants to manage the country's power supply.
Yeah.
In the actual facility now, they have modern day computers next to these 1970s equipment managing their entire country's power supply. So they
We have
still
a-
use it, and it's still like an active place where power is being fed in and managing.
Hey, yo,
across the
let's
country.
go.
We have a
Let's-
nuclear power station in our
Yeah.
town.
Is that why you're born with three?
There's only
penises?
2 in the UK.
Yeah.
There's only 2 in the UK.
That makes sense. Why
We
you
used to have one near me, but it got decommissioned. I had a job out there a while ago, where I had to drive like right past the thing, and it is so creepy just driving past this abandoned nuclear power plant. It's just weird.
it was scary
Like
though.
the Simpsons.
Fuck's sake. It was
Fucking
scary because
Simpsons.
as a kid, I always thought, literally, we live right. Well, I used to live right next to it, like sort of, and I always thought, like, what if, like, they try to explode it and all the nuclear is gonna come everywhere and I'm gonna die?
Why would they try to explode?
When
I
they
don't know.
try
And no,
explode
I
it.
mean, like, random people could, like, just bomb it and then the bomb, like, I was thinking, but it's not safe. It's not safe. It's nuclear stuff. Ah. And they used to do like a Crucial Crew. Does anyone know who Crucial Crew is?
No.
Where like they would teach you about safety stuff, but they'll put you in that situation. So, for example, they'll put you in a room where somebody's like passed out from being drunk, and you need to like know what to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's
Yeah,
just
nuclear
recreate a
disaster.
nuclear meltdown. Let's go.
No,
Same thing as
no, they-
someone passed out.
Let's just
But it was so
accidentally just create a
traumatizing, like-
meltdown. Whoops.
You don't understand. It was so
Oops.
traumatizing. There was
That's
a
the first
room.
time in the world we created this element.
There was
Woo!
there was a room where there was it literally was like it was like a set basically of like a street, and then somebody's like being
What?
run over on their bike.
Yo,
And
yeah.
like
They prepare you for a nuclear explosion. Boom, you're dead. It's all over.
No, not just that, were we?
what are you gonna do?
No,
Call
they
Ghostbusters.
they just close the door behind you, just open a tiny little shaft, just throw a grenade in.
Boom, you're dead.
No, but like we said, oh, we gotta call the ambulance because he got run over. Oh look, there's a house over there, so I had to knock on the door. And it was like this old lady. This is all fake, by the way. An old lady said, "All right, come on in. Uh, you can use my phone if you want." I was like, "But that's stranger danger." And the police, because they were like the police were doing it. It was like, "Well done, Joseph. You were right. It is stranger danger." And apparently our mate didn't know that. Bear with just a second, Beth. Jeez, fucking hell. And and apparently, because like we were in like groups, and like the second group didn't say stranger danger, and apparently, the woman had to pretend to beat up the kids. It was very traumatizing, and I don't respect that. Thank you, everybody. Beth, go on. What's your question?
What the fuck did this have to do with the nuclear disaster?
Because the nuclear disaster went to the nuclear power
Bro,
plant,
this is
and then I said,
Bro,
What?
this podcast is themed, and you're talking about beating an old lady.
Beat up
Old
children.
lady, like,
as an
grooming
old
you.
woman.
"Yeah, it's because yeah." Do you know why,
You
Beth?
knock on the
Do you know
door and be like,
fucking why?
"Stranger danger,
Because the
I
nuclear
can't hurt you."
The
power
old lady
station.
was in
Is
Chernobyl.
it?
The old lady was in Chernobyl.
She opened the door and she had like 3 eyes or something.
That's why Joe didn't go in. Not the fact that she was creepy. It was the fact she had 3 eyes.
Do you wanna get my phone?
Right.
Oh.
Anyway, let's get back onto the topic.
Alright, so after all the reactors, so the last one, reactor 4, which is the one that actually ended up exploding, was they opened it in 1983. This event occurred 3 years later in 1986. So this reactor had only been operating for 3 years.
That
So
is
it was-
incorrect.
The other thing is though, they
Is
were actually in the middle of making reactors 5 and 6, but they were suspended after the incident. Not many
Oh,
people
really?
knew
I wonder
that.
why that. I wonder why they suspended.
Yeah, I can't figure out why they would stop building
yeah.
these reactors. But so in April 1986, they were preparing to do a test on the reactor of the backup cooling system. So normally, if the cooling system fails, they have diesel generators that will kick in and supply the water pumps and cool the reactor. So I don't know what Joe is doing. He's sort of just
He's very
flexing
strange.
his
Just
naked
ignore
body.
it.
It's very, very weird.
His non-existent muscles.
But so the way the reactors work is they're a big open plate, and they have the rods of uranium, and in between them they have control rods that are normally inserted to slow the reaction. And around all of that, they pump cold water to prevent the rods overheating. So not only do they have the control rods to slow down the reaction and slow down like the creation of heat, they also have cold water being pumped around to cool it. This test was supposed to act as if the power for the country was just to stop. There was to be an issue, and also there was an issue with a backup generator. So normally, if they have a power failure, quite weird, bearing in mind they are generating power, they can't generate power, but they had diesel generators as backup, and it was a yes, Joe.
What's uranium? Because SpongeBob SquarePants told me that it was
Okay.
bombs.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
He's gone. Did you kick it?
I kicked him. So anyway,
They were
That was one.
plank.
so yeah, so basically they were doing a test on it by not using the diesel generators and seeing if a reactor could create enough power in that moment to turn on its own backup and sort of support itself. They were supposed to do the test during the day, but something happened during the day and it was delayed until the evening. And the night squad was actually made up of younger, less inexperienced people. And also the people were more sleep deprived because obviously they're on a night shift.
We should be the night squad.
So it was actually like sort of, there were red flags already there. People were
Oh, yeah.
tired. inexperienced. But yeah,
I'm sorry.
let's do an extreme test.
I'm sorry, but what the fuck? Why the fuck would you even want to test it if the diesel generators didn't work?
Because
They
the
were just
quirky
testing the
faults.
scenarios.
No,
But,
it's something that they have to go through to basically say, yes, this reactor is capable of doing this, and
But didn't they try and do it like?
it's
So there was, I think, the reason why it was delayed to nighttime was they went to so before they do the test, they want to turn the reactor down to 20% capacity to operate at a slower rate. So obviously, it's proper testing the system. And what happened was the Soviet Union's power supply was more demanding all of a sudden that evening, which is why it got delayed. So they had to turn the reactor back up to max power to generate and supply for the country, which is why obviously it got pushed back. So the system was operating at 100% all the way before this test.
Mm.
So obviously it was going to be hot in there already because there was so with the control rods, when they did this test, they were supposed to have all the control rods in because it was supposed to be at 20%. What actually happened was there was one control rod in the reactor. So the reactor was actually operating at more than 100%. It's actually higher than it would normally be operating. So they, for some reason, no one flagged this.
Sus.
And then when they began the test, obviously because it was operating at such a high rate, as soon as they began the test and cut the cold water supply, the reactions taking place in there was so high and so much heat was being created that it just rose so quickly. And there is actually a button on the reactor panel called the A35. I'm pretty sure it is
AZ5.
called AZ5, which is supposed to
Didn't
dunk
You
all
got it
the.
wrong.
It's supposed to dunk all the control rods in to sort of kill the reactor completely and stop all the reactions. Am I wrong, or is that correct?
It's slowly inserts all the control rods at a rate of 0.4 meters per second. So overall, it would take about 18 to 20 seconds. I googled that, by the way. I'm not just a nerd.
But yeah, that button is
That has a
basically
question.
that is the kill switch that will stop it. Go on. Spencer, did you say you had a question?
I remember reading or hearing on the documentary that the control rods had radioactive thingies on the end.
So
So
they
in
have
actual fact-
it's a graphite neutron moderator section.
Exactly, but however, when they put that in, that's what caused it to go boom boom because they actually
There was a gas in there which had been created because of how it was operating before at 100%, which
No,
reacted
it's
with that, wasn't
It's
it?
because graphite's completely made out of carbon, and it was probably an unstable carbon at the time.
exactly. So it went boom boom. Anyway, Joe has a question. Yes, Joe.
It's not a question, it's a fact.
Oh.
Okay.
Graphite is in pencils.
Oh. Thank you for
I
grounding
thought
us.
that was lead.
No, it's actually
No.
no. That's actually it's true. It's not
It is
lead. It's
graphite.
graphite.
It's not lead. They
It
removed
used to be
lead
lead.
because lead is toxic and people bite pencils and then got lead poisoning, which is why they removed it.
I'd be dead. I eat pencils. I mean, not eat.
Yeah, if it was lead in pencils and you were chewing on your pencil, you'd know about it.
Motherfucker, you won't be able to snap that. Like, if you wanted to snap it, you would not.
A bit of heavy
Like,
pencil.
Hulk, I could do that. You just see me like Hulk out.
Nice shirt, Jack.
Thanks. So yeah, basically,
Nice shirt,
This-
Joe. Wait.
fun fact: after the
Thanks.
reaction, the button to dunk the control rods, the AZ3. Did I say it right this time?
AZ5.
AZ5. Fuck. In reactor.
Also known
4
as the EPS5 button.
in reactor 4 is actually a push button. Fun fact. In all the reactor 1 to 3, now if you were to go in there and take a tour, it's under a lid and it's got a switch. It's like a twisty button.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely different now because it wasn't clear enough. They didn't think it was clear enough after the event that is the button that they need to press over. Oh shit! By putting a lid on it and making like a big deal.
Oh shit, go back.
Yeah, they realized that if they
Ah,
they were
shit.
like, this is an oh shit button. Something's gone wrong.
Now, if you press it, you gotta go, oh shit, here we go
Now
again.
you gotta flip a lid and then twist it, not just push a button. It's not just like a simple push button that's just one of the many buttons. Because if you've seen any of the pictures of their reactor room, like the reactor control rooms, they've got like about 10 meters of like a curved desk at the front, and then another 10 meters of like walls which have graphs and buttons and all sorts over it. If you didn't know what you're doing, there's just it looks like when you get in like a cockpit of a plane, there's just buttons
Mhm.
everywhere. It's just
Yeah.
like that, but a bigger version. So
Beth? Go on, Beth.
Campbell said the buttons say, "Ah shit, here we go again." But surely it shouldn't have happened in the first place, so it should just go, "Ah shit."
If any of the reactors
Exactly.
melt down now.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, there should be two buttons. One says "ah shit," and the other goes, "Here we go again."
for fuck's sake.
Audio cue.
You gotta
Just
press them
audio
both
cue
at the
round
same
trip, yeah.
time.
That fucking Streamlabs audio.
What? So
cue,
one of your
someone's
last
going,
fucking so if it does go fucking tits up, like your last memory is, oh shit, here we go again.
Just going
And
through the
that's-
sirens.
I
You
mean,
just get
it
melted.
should be here we go again, because if you survived it once, fucking hell, you're unlucky to get there a second time.
They just
but-
inform one person who is far enough away to not die from it, but
But
close
yeah,
enough
basic-
to know it.
Basically, that caused that all of that led to the explosion that we know
Mm-hmm.
now as the explosion. Some fun facts about the explosion. It spewed 8 tons of radiation into the air,
Yep.
of which
Fun
30% of it was taken to other places,
Mm-hmm.
not just locally. So 70% stayed local. Over 30% of them, 8 tons, went elsewhere. 115 people were 115,000 people were evacuated from the local area. It took them 15 days to put the fires out inside of the reactors, and over 500,000 people were drafted in to deal with the incident.
Very close to saying accident. But
Well,
yeah, it's a complicated one because how do you classify it?
It is an accident because it wasn't like they intentionally just were
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna fucking nuke our, because the worst part is as well, obviously the night of it they had power problems in the Soviet Union,
mm-hmm.
so they actually needed all the other reactors to stay active while all this was going on, because otherwise their country would be without power. And in fact, on the back of that, all of them reactors, like we said earlier, stayed active all the way until they were decommissioned in 2000. So that first reactor came on almost 77. So we're talking 23 years that reactor was online.
Mm-hmm.
And at least
Still,
a good
after the-
15 after one of them already exploded.
Yeah.
So
Another fun fact about the fallout from Chernobyl and the way of the explosion, it actually affected the UK.
that's
It-
I
it
have a
affected
fucking
it
section on this
affected
document.
worldwide.
I have a document section here, an entire paragraph section that we haven't gotten to yet. That is called "How It Affected the UK."
Oh, okay. I'll let you
Okay,
get
this-
to that
I'm
then.
Still up here. I'm still up here. We're not at that section yet, okay?
I've not got the doc open.
No, it's my secret document. I've sat and wrote. I'm throwing a temper tantrum.
Well, there you go. So if I bring it up, it's because I don't fucking have your
Don't get ahead of
doc.
the story. We're still at the reaction. The reaction's only just happened.
Fuck you.
Okay.
Go on, Beth. Go on,
So
Beth.
Yes, I mean, fact.
Yeah.
People die.
yeah, but my next thing
Is
is
that in your document?
31 people died within days of the explosion from acute radiation poisoning, but that wasn't a total death toll from this.
Bro,
That was the
I'm
first
sorry,
3 months.
Bro, I'm
No, that
sorry,
was
but I
that was
don't.
like that was like initially like people were in the building. 31 people died within like days.
And approximately 14 suspected radiation-induced cancer deaths followed within the next 10 years.
Actually,
So it's about
Jack, it
51
wasn't
deaths.
days. It was 3 months because I'm looking at the thing.
It's
31
Go
people
on.
died within days though.
oh,
Let me read this.
Okay.
In the accident's aftermath, 237 people suffered from acute radiation sickness, of whom 31 died within the first 3 months.
Woof.
I don't know why, but in high school, I was fucking twisted. The way I said I wanted to die was radiation poisoning. I have no fucking clue why.
That is fucked.
Isn't it
That
like
is
one of the
fucked.
most agonizing ways?
Yeah.
Yes. Skin lesions and just
Fucking
It's
stop-
basically
you
like
can't-
it's
you
basically
can't
like
literally
going
just
through
blood and shit.
chemotherapy.
melt.
It's like going through chemotherapy, basically.
I've never done that, folks. Don't know about
Same.
you.
You
I've been
understand?
fortunate enough to not have to go through.
So yeah, the radioactive cloud that was launched from this explosion, fun fact, was equivalent to 400 Hiroshima atomic bombs.
Ah, that pussy
Yeah.
shit. They were
Oof.
1940s. Who gives a shit about those?
But yeah, so
Oh, no.
the cloud was equivalent to 400 atomic bombs. Just to put a scale on how bad it was.
Yeah.
And in the panic after the explosion, they built a concrete box or the
Yep.
sarcophagus around the explosion to prevent radiation from leaking. But inside that box is still 200 tons of fuel. Not a lot, which is more worrying because there's currently fission happening inside. And it's happening in one of the rooms that we can't get access to, and it's very deep, but that's later on.
Is that the
Um,
elephant? Is it in the basement?
No, it's in the secondary control room for the reactor. But they
Okay.
know that there's fission happening down there, and there's a high potential of now an explosion happening.
Obvious.
So I am not going anywhere near Chernobyl, however sick it is. I want to see it until that's fucking dealt with.
Yeah. Once that's dealt with, I'm gonna go back onto the old trying to get the tickets.
But so yeah, they built this sarcophagus, and between 1986 and 2000, obviously all the other reactors remained active. While this sarcophagus was there, and there was in the air, if you had a hello, I'm trying to do a podcast about.
So Jack's
Oh, one
dog
of the
has
most
just come in.
famous nuclear
I'm
tragedies.
trying to talk about Chernobyl here, and I just got a dog.
Just
Anyway.
got dogged. I'm sorry.
There's a dog.
Hang about.
Alright, so yeah, if you were to
It
put
felt
like
like a
a the
A Geiger
Really cool.
counter.
Yeah.
Geiger counter up just in the air between one of the other reactors, which was still reacting and active all the way to the year 2000, in the air was between 4 and 2,
Which
whatever it's
is-
called,
Yeah.
which is
Which-
quite
Sieverts.
high. Yeah, but that was in the air. Now, if you go there, because we've built the new confinement, it's about 0.7 to 0.6. So these people
Yeah.
continued to work in like they were basically stupid. But go on.
Isn't like all the radiation what went up into it? Isn't it like meant to be in the Earth's atmosphere for another 500 years or something like that? Something ridiculous like that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's just
something-
so much.
something- So after we realized that the concrete box they built really was not
Because it was
effective
concrete.
at all. It was just a concrete box. It was fucking useless.
They made it out of
Um,
lead after. Awesome. Right.
But they realized that we need to build a better box to put around it. So we spent $3 billion on a new confinement, as it's called, which is 110 meters tall. So it's the same height as the Empire State.
Building.
Woman.
All
No,
this
the
is all
woman.
out of lead as well, so it's not going to be cheap.
Pencils.
Yes, man.
Fuck up.
A giant pencil dome, and it's 260 meters wide. It is the largest movable structure in the world.
Push
And
it
it's
over.
only- Yeah, they slowly moved it over the top of it, so it moved. They actually had to take the iconic chimney, the red and white chimney. They had to demolish that in the process to get it over it because it's already 110 meters tall. How fucking tall do they want it? But the worst part is that 3 billion pounds or dollars, sorry, is about 2.7 billion pounds. Will only protect us for 100 years. So it's really for how
Until-
much it's cost us.
Until we find a more sustainable fucking counter to
Well,
nuclear.
what is built
atoms.
in it is a crane that can be controlled autonomously, and the plan is to actually dismantle the sarcophagus and slowly rip it apart and try and contain the fuel.
Mm.
Because obviously, like what's happening now, there's fission happening down there, and we can't control that. The way they have controlled it currently down there is they're spraying like a bromine solution thing that neutralizes some of it. But the
Yeah.
issue is the reactions are happening so deep into the sarcophagus that we can't spray it.
It's been too long. Like it's been
Yeah.
like 40 years or something like that.
Well, we've got like temperature sensors and like reactor sensors and all sorts around the outside. But if you actually try and get inside of it, we haven't gone in there. Robots can't go in there because they lose control
Right.
and stuff. So either us, our generation, or the next generation, but it's looking more likely our generation is actually going to have to start the task of disassembling the explosion slowly.
Go on, Joe.
I don't know what you talk about this esophagus.
No,
Esophagus.
so basically on the fourth reactor, they made like an entire concrete, probably about 10 to 12 foot, like thick,
Just around
Like,
it, like a box.
around the
Like,
fucking.
imagine a coffin built out of cement, but for a building.
Yeah,
Was it built out of cement?
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Because they didn't.
Oh.
Because we didn't really know that lead.
It was
stopped.
90s. We didn't know shit back then.
Stupid.
We
mean,
we did
shit.
not have the technology to build what we built then. And still, from 2000 to 2017, it took us 17 years to build the new confinement.
Oh yeah.
So it took us like a long time to now finally get the radiation around like the area low. But one of the issues is obviously with the fission happening really down into it that we can't spray on and control, and obviously heat is building up there. There's the potential of a second explosion, which if that happens will destroy that confinement.
hmm
Which given
Not
COVID,
good.
I don't think the world has $3 billion to spend on a new giant,
Not at the moment.
especially if it's going to take another 17 years to build as well. So yeah, it's terrifying, but it's looking like our generation is actually going to have to be responsible for taking apart, which will be sick because we'll actually get to finally see inside and see what it looks like inside. Because there's like two people
Pictures
who
of when
have
it
actually,
first built.
there's only
was it
two
like-
people just still alive. I think maybe one now because one died. That have actually been inside the sarcophagus.
It's a funny word, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because there was one of the guys who went into the basement.
Yeah,
Weren't there?
and they've
Yeah.
been in there multiple times and they just hadn't had any effects. And then one of them finally died, and now one's still
yeah.
alive. And they're the only real life accounts of people who are alive that what it actually looks like inside. We've
When-
got
when we
some
get-
footage and some videos, which is still mad to think, but like the
Mhm.
footage in there is just like it's crazy. Like it's just a fucking mess.
I'm just gonna ask, when are we getting onto this elephant's foot? Because I know quite a bit about that.
We can go on to the elephant's foot now. So obviously, when the reactor went into a meltdown, all of it melted down quite literally, meltdown means what it means.
the
It just it keeps
It would-
reacting, and the byproduct of it reacting is it reacting more, and it just builds and it builds and it builds, and it becomes this substance that can eat anything.
Oh,
It
yeah.
can just eat anything. So it ate through the steel, it ate through the concrete, it ate through the container
Fat
that
bitch.
was holding the fuel, and like, and obviously,
Yeah, and like blowing it and then just all
which
leaked
is where
out.
it where we created, where we spoke earlier about this new element that is like, what
Not
is
really an element.
cesium
Corium.
or something?
Corium.
Corium, that's it. Corium. It created this new product we call corium that is like these stalagmites, and the like around the elephant's foot there's different like stalagmites of it where it's got glass in it and sand. And it just creates like these. They are fucking beautiful,
Yeah.
but they are deadly. Like if you spend 200 seconds with it, you are dead,
Oh yeah.
which is less than 5 minutes. In fact, I think if you spend 60 seconds, you're basically gonna feel you're gonna feel it.
About 30 seconds in, you start feeling dizzy,
Okay.
and then I can't remember anything else, but I know I think it's about 7 minutes, maybe.
200. No, it's 200 seconds. You're dead.
Oh yeah, probably something like that. It was
Which
it was
is
longer.
300 seconds is 5 minutes.
But all I know is the only picture recorded of this elephant's foot is it like 2 feet long of just pure radiation, pretty much.
Well, the account of the people who were going through the building after the explosion was they were going around with their geigometers, and they were going around and their
Geigometers.
actual whatever they were going around, and they were obviously like inspecting different parts and seeing how reactive it was. They're all dead. Shocker. Shocker.
Surprise! Surprise!
They're all dead.
That one actually got me, you know. Fucking
But-
hell.
But so they were going around, and their account is, which is where this picture came from. They were walking around, and they found the elephant's foot, and they put their counter next to it, and they realized how much it was, and then had to go back. And the only way we got that one picture of it, which we got, is by them sticking a camera on a stick around the bend, because they realized in that moment how wasn't it?
No, I read about it. Apparently, they had like probably about 12 mirrors, and they had to reflect it off the fucking like all different mirrors because it was so
but
bad.
the team which were going through did actually see it for their own eyes, because they walked in
Oh, yeah.
there to figure out, and that's how they realized, holy shit, we gotta go the other way.
You just imagine,
But-
yeah, there's a small problem in here.
But corium, like this new thing that was created and never been seen before this event, has only been seen like them 3 times, which is obviously the
Yeah,
Hiroshima.
3 Mile Island, Hiroshima, and
No, not Hiroshima.
Chernobyl. No, Fukushima.
Yeah, Fukushima. And they're the only times scientists have made it in a controlled site,
I
like,
remember.
which is how we know that it's over like 2,000 degrees. It's almost like half the temperature of the sun, and we can control it in their environments. But in the wild, there is no controlling of it, and it
Oh, yeah.
just it's like a bowl, and imagine the bowl just continues sideways. It just eats everything. There is nothing in this planet that is strong enough to contain it, because still it melts still. Maybe 9/11 there.
Well, 3 Mile Island was in New York.
But yeah, so that's it's that cool thing. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about the elephant's foot.
It's just crazy because it's
It looks like
still
another
it,
kebab.
it's still no it's like the bottom of the foot. It's not like the leg. It's like the foot, but it's still generating heat to this day.
Hmm.
Like it's probably got a half life of probably like maybe 500 years. That's only
Yeah.
half of the radioactive property.
That is like stuff like that is going to be the hardest thing we're going to have to deal with, because we are going to have to put that in something that contains it and
Oh,
gets
yeah.
rid of it. Otherwise, we can never fully dismantle Chernobyl,
Generate for yeah.
which will be I feel like, knowing how dumb our generation is, we will create something that contains it. And
Can
then
I
we'll
just-
create something that contains it, but also is see-through, so we can put it in a museum.
Can I just? I'm just reading the article about this, and Joe will get to your thing in a sec. So it says on here, there's a description of the elephant's foot about its density and everything. So it says, the mass is quite dense and unyielding to a drill mounted on a remote-controlled trolley, but able to be damaged by a Kalashnikov AK-47
Fucking
using
Russians,
armor-piercing
man.
rounds.
It's the Russians, man.
What? Who decided? Oh, this drill isn't working. Fuck it. Let's send a gun in. Shoot it.
Go on, Joe.
Yeah.
I've just finished the master level of Solitaire.
Okay.
In May
Anyway,
2021.
Back to Russians being stupid
Oh,
and
but
using a gun as a shovel.
in May 2021, the mass was described as having a consistency similar to sand.
Yes, that's because. So that's where obviously it's eaten through concrete and sand, which is why you get the different stalagmites which are there. So there's the elephant's foot one, and there is actually more glass-like ones, which are more stalagmites and stalagmites.
Stalagmites and stalactites.
Yeah, that's it. Which are formed because they've eaten sand and turned it into glass. So they've actually got like a crystal, like shiny texture,
Yep.
which is it's so sick.
It is
there's
called
like,
Chernobylite.
the thing is, we never had it before. It was never an atom or element that existed on our spectrum because why the fuck did it?
Chernobylite
need to exist?
is a technogenic compound, a crystalline zirconium silicate with a high up to 10% content of uranium as a solid solution.
Oh, here it is. I found the article what I read about the elephant's foot. So, 30 seconds, you'll start feeling dizzy and tired, and well, fatigued. 2 minutes in, your cells will begin to hemorrhage, and then by the time you hit 5 minutes, you're dead. You're guaranteed dead.
You ain't alive anymore to talk about it.
No, if you can get out of there, you're gonna die probably.
You're dead
days.
anyway. You're dead anyway because you've taken that much radiation that it will just kill you from acute radiation poisoning. So anyway, now we've talked about obviously the reactor, the explosion. This could have been prevented very easily, which is the worst part.
So, like, it's all the Soviet. They probably needed all that power because they just wanted to prove that they were bigger than the United States. Because at the time, this was the Cold War. It was the Cold War era. Thing.
What also made it worse is the fact they didn't admit they had fucked up immediately.
Oh yeah.
That would have prevented a lot of the fallout.
That's a lot to do with the relations between Russia and Ukraine, though, since it was under Moscow. I believe, if I'm right.
Basically, they didn't have big enough balls to say, "Yo, we may have accidentally made a nuke."
If I'm right, though, I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, and I'm just trying to find it now, so I'm not talking total shit. But as far as I'm aware, the reactor itself and everything was under Russian control through Moscow, even though it's in Ukraine, and it was Moscow didn't tell Ukraine
What they were doing.
until people were like falling ill and tasting metallic tastes in their mouth and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they were like, yeah, something's happened, it's fine, and it wasn't fine. I know it's got the word Moscow in it, I'll search that. So, the plant was run by authorities in Moscow, so the government in Ukraine didn't receive the information immediately.
Stupid, really.
It's quite funny. But anyway, now on to probably a bigger part of how, like, obviously this affected the world, and especially like where we're from, like the UK, which obviously Campbell's already tried to jump the gun on this one.
Fuck you, Campbell.
But So yeah, how this affected our country, which obviously it did affect us quite badly.
For a
And,
long
I've
time.
actually got some fun stuff to share with you guys. So obviously the world is radioactive. Wherever you are in the world, there is radio. Pardon me. There
I've-
is there is radiation, which is terrifying. Some levels of the UK actually have higher radiation than others. There is actually a fun tool. I see Spencer wanting to say something. There's actually a fun tool, which is a website called ukradon.org, where you can type in your address, and it tells you how much radiation's in your area.
I'll do
I
that now.
bet.
I'm sure
it's
the
a fun-
area
What's it called?
I'm sure the area I
put the link
used
in
to
our
live
group.
in was like quite radioactive because of the granite underground.
So yeah, there is that. It is a Public Health England website that you can actually search your address and how radioactive it is. So you can click show and hide radon data.
What the fuck is radon data?
So the reason why the
Just
UK
call me a
has,
legend.
if you scroll out from your postcode, you can probably see the colors. It's if you're right on your postcode, you can't really see like.
Okay, it's
So,
more radioactive now where I am here than it was down there.
Bro, I am literally in the middle of where there's pretty much none. I'm looking at
Yeah,
this.
same. I'm in a blank
I'm-
spot of
yeah,
Yeah,
radiation.
you're right.
less than 1%. There's everything everywhere around. Fucking Derbyshire gets fucked.
Wales has just got fucked and Cornwall has
uh,
got fucked.
Look at Cornwall. Look at Cornwall. Cornwall is fucked. Cornwall's radiation is actually so bad that if you go to certain places in Devon, in Cornwall, there are warning signs actually in the streets that say "Warning: you're entering a radioactive area." In fact, their radiation is that bad down there that they have radiation warning signs. Yeah, it's terrifying.
I wasn't aware of
okay.
that actually. That's the first I've
Can I say
ever heard of
Go
that.
on.
It's nothing to do with like Chernobyl or anything like that. It's just a fun radiation fact.
Uh-huh.
Because it's fairly common knowledge nowadays that bananas have radiation in them because of the potassium ions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I'm not gonna lie. I looked at Google. I didn't look it up myself. Someone worked out if you eat
I know where you're going with
376
this.
if you eat 376 bananas a day for 5 years, you'll die of radiation poisoning.
I think you're gonna die of something else first before you die of radiation poisoning, let's be honest.
376 bananas a day. Fucking hell. For 5 years.
It's a lot of bananas.
That God, I feel sorry for money. Yeah.
That is mad. But yeah, no. The reason why the UK is also radioactive is not just because of Chernobyl. Can I point that out now?
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Mhm.
So the
Natural
strong
gases,
places
isn't
in the UK are Cornwall, they're very high, North Wales and Northwest Ireland, Yorkshire Dales and the Peak District are the strongest areas in the UK for radiation. And some
It's
of the
bec-
reasons for the radiation,
Is it the fracking of the natural gas? The
no,
natural gas-
actually, it's
No.
because of World War II.
Fog.
World War II debris are leaking radiation on our country because we were smart. Okay, I'm changing topics here from Chernobyl to World War II, but we painted the dials on our planes with radium so we could see in the dark.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Do you know,
Like,
going on still on that slightly, my granddad is a beekeeper. He collects honey pots and things like that, and he's
So you
got
got
one.
chunk of uranium.
No, well,
Oh,
he's got one which was this really nice green color, and I was like, that's beautiful. He's like, yeah, it's made out of uranium glass. And it actually has uranium in the glass to make it.
Yo, I'm not going anywhere near that. Thank you very much.
well, I mean, like the uranium atom isn't that bad. to
No,
have.
uranium
it's the,
itself.
It's the isotope.
I've
that you,
handled
like,
uranium I have handled uranium.
Beth,
don't-
just in case you missed it, the UK is radioactive, and there's a link that you can type in your postcode and see how radioactive your area is.
There's no radiation in my house, beaches.
Did you check the map?
Wait. By the way, I've done the math on how many bananas that is total. That's 250,463,000 bananas.
What's the average price of a banana currently? How much you spending?
Average. Right, 1 second. You just
Yeah,
keep talking.
what's the what's the economy of bananas like right now?
Fun off-topic subject. My dad's mate, actually, his old job was literally selling bananas to supermarkets. He worked for a firm that imported bananas, and he literally just sold them to supermarkets.
Another
He was a
fun
banana
fact.
salesman.
I have
him.
been to a banana farm, one of the main banana farms in the world, out in Costa
Did you
Rica.
get radiation poisoning from all the bananas?
I did, yeah. Why do you think I'm a dipshit? No,
Oh,
it is actually an incredible it is incredible that the size of these farms, they're just huge.
so
And they use cool like zip wires with they use zip wires to get about with swings on them. It's really cool.
that does sound pretty cool. Anyway, back on topic briefly while Spencer does the maths on how many bananas to get radiation poisoning and how much is going to set you back over 5 years. So if any of you are planning on getting radiation poisoning from eating bananas, this is what you need to start saving. But anyway, back on topic of the radium that we used, which is so dumb. Why the fuck did we use radium to see in the dark?
Why didn't we just eat carrots?
Shut
Yo,
the
this
fuck up.
substance glows. Let's paint it on everything. Oh no, we're now accidentally got all of our pilots radiation poisoning.
Oopsie daisy.
Oopsie daisy. But yeah, so one of the biggest effects from Chernobyl itself was the fact that obviously the atoms, the nuclear fallout into the air got carried in the wind over to our country.
Like a
That
candle
resulted in
the wind.
Nuclear rain, which is quite fun. So nuclear rain happened up in Lancashire and North Wales. Fun fact. So they just got a nice nuclear rain, you know. Just go out, put your umbrella up. Oh, your umbrella's got a fucking hole in it. Spencer, I
Oops.
think, figured out how much it's going to cost.
This isn't exact because there was a decimal point, but so per kilogram of bananas as of April 2021, a kilogram of bananas is 79 pence. So I worked out how many kilograms is in that 250 million. There was 35 kilograms of 35 million kilograms of bananas, by the way.
Oh god, that's a lot of fucking bananas.
Yeah. So then I had to times it by 79, and the number I have right now is 2,826,653. Wait. Sorry. 2,826,653,812 pence.
So basically, unless you are Bill Gates, you are not going to poison yourself from radiation poisoning.
Wait. Let me divide that by 100.
Can I just ask something really quickly? A genuine question on this.
That is 28 million pounds on bananas.
If any
To die.
millionaires are out there and listening to the Block Bros podcast and you want to do a science experiment and find out if you can actually die from radiation poisoning from eating 300 plus bananas a day for 5 years, please get in contact with us and we'll happily sponsor this. If you want to sponsor the experiment, we'll be your lab rats.
Go on, Beth.
I don't like bananas.
Sick.
Same, but I'd
What?
kill myself.
You what? What'd you say, Beth?
Sick if I ate that many bananas.
300 bananas a day for 5 years. It's only
So
just
200
hit. You'll
that's
die
only
from radiation
250
poisoning,
million.
though.
I do
Only
it over,
250 million.
I do it over 6 years.
No.
Doesn't work.
Well, you probably do let.
See, the thing I'm thinking though is when we're talking about eating the bananas, skin on or skin off. Did they measure?
skin
Did they
off.
measure the? No, I'm not saying like. I'm not saying that you eat bananas
Oh,
with the
you
skin
about to
on.
say you eat banana with the skin on?
No,
Um,
no. I'm saying when they're taking account of how much radiation is in each one, are they taking account of just the internals, or are they taking account
No,
of the
no, because
skin as well?
I'm pretty sure like all the potassium is in the internal, like the
The
actual
mushy
food
part.
itself. The
Oh,
food
so that's
itself.
okay then.
Alright.
I think by
So,
that point it's going to be fucking negligible anyway, so...
So,
Just think. Oh god.
So we've gone from
Alright, go on.
Chernobyl to eating millions of bananas.
I was going to take us back on topic just to round off the Chernobyl thing. So, according to a Telegraph article I've got from 2006, in 2006, according to this article, there were still 400 farms in Britain that were still affected by the radioactive fallout from Chernobyl, which was 20 years on.
So I've actually got the numbers up in front of me.
Because of I'm dying apparently. Most of them were in like the Wales area in Snowdonia. But because of that, and because of the radioactive fallout from Chernobyl, we actually banned the sales of sheep in the UK.
So
Shaggers.
the numbers I've got here. So it says the UK restricted the movement of sheep from uplands where the cesium-137 fell, which was the radioactive dust cloud basically. In the immediate aftermath of the disaster, and the movement of a total of 4,225,000 sheep was restricted across 9,700 farms. Then, since then, so in Northern Ireland, all the restrictions were released in 2000. By 2009, 369 farms containing 190,000 sheep remained under the restrictions in Wales, Cumbria, and Northern Scotland.
It was 2012 that they finally lifted the restriction.
Yeah, no. So Scotland, it was 2010, and then Wales and Cumbria was 2012. So now there is
26 years. 26 years on from the event, they finally lifted the ban. In fact, in 2006, when the article I've got, which came out, which was 400 farms in Briton, still got the effects of Chernobyl. That was 20 years on. 20 years on, and there were still 400 farms that were seeing the effects. Which is why the fact that there could be a second explosion there is terrifying. Because it's taken us 30 years almost to contain it and the effect which it's had on the world. So the fact that like there could be a second explosion and stuff is terrifying. Because where is it gonna rain? Where is it gonna start fucking raining and start coming through your roofs and shit this time around? Because it depends where the wind blows. The wind could take it to us.
Anyway, the
somewhere else.
wind blows.
And like, look at like obviously like the UK radon map, which shows us how reactive parts of the UK already are. Imagine if Cornwall got like the fallout down there. That could actually
That would be
like,
catastrophic.
To get a handsaw and just completely cut off Cornwall, make it its own island.
But like obviously they're already at like plus 30% radiation in places and have radiation warning signs in Cornwall.
See,
So,
I'd
like,
have
if
said
they
just
were to
nuke it, but I mean, I don't think that'd help
it
much.
already is. But like it could actually like leave like an effect. Like I don't think it could be this extreme, but it could be extreme enough that Cornwall becomes a place that you can't go.
Yeah, they'll probably put a wall around it. So you can't.
You're gonna build a wall.
I
We're gonna
mean,
hire Donald Trump to build a wall around Cornwall.
So Hadrian's Wall, anyone?
Radiation can get over a wall.
No, it can't.
No, it can't.
Not if I manage it. Not if I manage it.
We've got the saw on the other side cutting the land off, so
Not
Well,
consensual.
ask Donald Trump to come and build us a wall for Cornwall. It's called the Corn Wall.
I mean, I don't know how Cornwall will feel
It's
If we
the
just cut 'em
Corn
off.
Wall.
if we put a wall. I know they want their independence, but also if we put a wall because they become too radioactive,
They can't
it's like,
be
nah, get in your own area.
You got to isolate when you come home from Cornwall.
They can't be independent if they all die from radiation. I mean,
True.
I mean, I did
solved.
until I started doing this research. I did not know how radioactive, and the fact there were even warning signs
Oh yeah.
about radioactive areas in Cornwall.
I've been to Cornwall and I've never, like,
Like
I
this
might have
is,
seen
like,
the signs,
really
but I've never.
eye-opening about, like, our own country. Like the fact that
I think it depends where you go in Cornwall, where you'll see
Yeah.
the signs.
well, Devon is apparently the worst.
Yeah, Devon's fault.
But like, even like learning about the fact that we used radium paint to see in the dark, and that's why our country has radiation. It just hurts me like hearing some of this shit.
It's so
But we
stupid.
didn't know better.
Yeah, we didn't know
Yeah.
better then. We wanted everything to win this war, but
But it's like when how long ago was World War II, and we're still getting leaking radiation from that, and that's only minor.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Mad.
I've just had another idea for a podcast topic, but I will discuss this after we're finished because it's a.
yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil anything.
I've got one final like side
I've got
track.
one more point about the Chernobyl stuff, and it's
Can I-
about
oh.
go on. Go on.
Oh, I was gonna say like recently I've seen this thing and it's is that island what you were talking about? Is it the one in the Marshall Islands? What they use for nuclear
Oh no,
testing?
I know what one
Nu-
you're talking about. You're talking about
The one-
Bikini Atoll.
The one, yeah, the one that had the fucking massive crater and it was so radioactive.
It's
they
not
had
the
to put a
same
lead
thing, but
They had to put a lead dome over it, and because of the rising sea levels, it could potentially leak into the ocean's waters and completely
Oh,
fuck us because it was ridiculously radioactive.
have you ever seen the flag for Bikini Atoll?
No.
It is literally an American flag with just text written on it. It is just
Yeah. Yeah, because that island was just specifically for American nuclear testing.
Alright.
Go on, Jack.
So the final sort of point I have written down about a lot of the Chernobyl stuff is the most honorable thing that happened throughout this entire catastrophe. Let's just call it that. It is a
Soviet
catastrophe.
Union ended.
No, actually, that is not what I've got on my
So you
notes.
say the Soviet Union is a good thing? Okay.
I mean, they caused this, so
I'll be reporting that to Stalin.
no. So obviously, when it first people started going there, like firefighters put their hands over the lead to keep warm, which obviously they later found out, oh shit, yo, that lead stuff that you've been warming yourself with, yeah, the reason why it's warm.
Oh, are we going on to the subtopic of the
Ionizing
hospital
radiation.
and the basement of the hospital?
No, actually, but we can cover that next. It's about. I'm more covering that when we finally realized, holy shit, you go near this, the chance of you dying, pretty high. Ha ha ha. So all the elderly people, and there's a lot to do with like the culture out there, of where it took place. The elderly people stepped forward and volunteered themselves and said, "Young guy, go home, get the fuck away from here, take your family and go, because this is bad. I'm gonna step in and help clean up the debris." The elderly people swept the roof and pushed the debris inside and did a lot of the work on like the sarcophagus and took a lot of irradiation. And it's the fact that they sacrificed their lives because they knew they were older and had less time to live. It's such a like an honorable thing that I think
Yeah.
in modern day, and I'm not trying to
Wouldn't
call
happen. I don't
elderly
think it would
people
happen.
selfish.
It would not happen.
In like a British culture, I don't think the elderly people would do
No,
that.
it's because Ukraine at the time was fucking communist, so everyone looked after for each other. Like,
Yeah. Also, their culture out there was like elderly people, like they had a respect
Mm.
that they'd earned. Whereas I'm not saying like our elderly people don't get
yeah,
have
fuck you, old people.
but they were just so. It's such an honorable thing to say to a young person, "Yo, get the fuck away from here. This is bad. I'm gonna kill myself." In theory, effectively, I am saying I am happy to die to clean this up. And the fact they knew they knew what they were doing. They knew they were signing basically their lives away. They knew that they were saving someone's life and also potentially also saving future generations by doing that job, because that job had to be done. It had to be cleaned up. And it's just such like a honorable thing that sort of, when we talk about this, obviously a lot of people talk about the fact like, oh, they're fucking horrendous. Why the fuck did they do this? Why did they tell us? But a lot of the fact that people sacrifice their lives for younger people gets
Just
brushed
average,
over.
average working day people. Like,
Yeah. And those
it's
people
most new-
sacrificing their lives. Yeah, okay, it took us 30 years to finally have it under control. But if that didn't happen then, we could be talking longer now.
Oh,
We
yeah.
could be talking a much bigger fallout because of this. We could be talking more crops or more land in other places, in other countries, being damaged by this because these people sacrificed their lives. And it's sort of like a, however bad it is, like it's still mad that these people did that. So yeah, it's just, yeah, I'll let
Just
you
to-
talk about.
Just to quickly end off, it's the fucking hospital. So during the time the hospital, because everyone was falling ill and all this shit, like the hospital was in high capacity, just full of people with radiation poisoning. So and like when they figured out all this shit was happening, the firefighters would work that day, then go to the hospital, take off their fucking firefighter suits, put it in the basement, and there's probably maybe the full basement still is just covered all in the firefighter suits, all just filled with radiation. And if I remember correctly, Elephant's Foot is the most radioactive place, and that basement is the second. It's ridiculous still
I
to this
think the
day.
basement with the fireman suit you can now enter, I
Yeah,
believe.
you can now enter
yeah.
it. It's not as bad, but it is still the second
yeah.
most.
It showed like them putting their hands over the graphite and not realizing, oh shit, that's radioactive. I'm cold. Let's get warm. Oh, I wonder where the heat came from. Haha. But I feel like if any of this has made sense to anyone listening, if you've listened this far, and anyone wants to learn more about it, one of the best things to watch, and like it's really good and it's not dramatized too much, is I think
Chernobyl
it's the
series.
the Chernobyl series that I
The
think Sky did.
HBO.
Yeah, no, it was
HBO,
Sky. It was Sky.
Pretty sure it was Sky.
Sky in the UK, HBO in America. probably.
Yeah.
They did I think it's like 6 or 7 episodes.
Hmm.
But it covers like the whole thing. Like I haven't actually watched it in preparation of any of these notes, but
And
I've
it's
seen
got
it before.
it's got Martin from Friday Night Dinner, God rest his soul.
But I feel like
Listen,
it doesn't cover like a lot of like the technical science side, but it covers like the panic and like
Like
just
say if you're looking at it from an everyday person's perspective.
Yeah.
Basically.
it explains the whole event so well, and it's so really well done. So if any of this has made any sense, I would recommend 100% watching that show, because you will watch it and go, oh wow.
If you
Wow.
haven't watched it already, that is.
Al-
And if
also-
you have,
also the fa-
watch it again.
I mean,
Also-
I've watched it 3 times, but go
Also,
on, Paul.
if anyone's listening, please try out the 376 banana thing. We really want to know.
Yeah, if
Just
anyone's got
send us-
29 million pounds and they want to sponsor, remember, we are guinea
Fucking-
pigs.
Fucking send us an email in the next 5 years, like the day before you hit the 5-year mark. Let us know if you feel any different.
Yeah, if you're
do
doing
a live
yourself,
stream
yeah.
for us.
If you start throwing off or like
Just wait for the
blood
next
running
podcast
everywhere.
to get that email for the advice line, but send us one there telling us that you've started eating the bananas, and we'll want to hear your story.
We'll
Yeah,
make you
2
a-
days in,
we'll
they're
make
gonna
you
be
a
like, I
guest-
don't want to look
we'll
at
make you
another
a guest
fucking
on the
banana.
podcast, and if it works, you'll be dying live in our podcast.
Well,
It's pretty fun.
technically, the bananas like they're not that bad to eat because they are the fastest thing or digest. They digest in minutes, like maybe like 2 minutes or something.
Do you know? I think all
But-
this information's too much for Beth.
Yeah, if you can't see, I think Beth may actually be asleep right now, like straight. But anyway, boys, I think we've covered it well. If anyone has anyone got any points they want to add?
No, I think we've covered pretty much
That-
everything from that stat standpoint at least.
Oh, Beth's awake. just in time to say goodbye to the end of the podcast. I don't think she's gonna say anything. She's just gonna sit there and, yeah, we got a middle finger. That's the most we're gonna get. But anyway, boys, thank you for listening to our sort of rendition of what happened in Chernobyl and discussion about it. We may, if you like this, do more. Maybe Joe, a science one like with UFOs.
I've got an idea
Oh.
as well.
Whatever they're now called. I'm pretty
I've-
sure there's a thing supposed to be happening in America on like the 1st of June or something to do with America revealing videos that they've had in the secret documents from like 2016 and 15 and 4 of actual videos from pilots of maybe actual UFOs.
That could be interesting.
So
Obvious.
maybe after that we can do a UFO episode and maybe some other stuff. Maybe if anyone
I've
has...
got a random one, but it includes a special guest.
Hey.
So we will discuss that and see how
Yeah,
that
if
goes.
you enjoy this different style of instead of us rambling, actually talking about topics, there's
Actually
there's
talking.
lots of cool stuff we can talk about in the world that I think all of us will find a passion for and maybe take it in terms. But also remember our advice line. Next episode we'll come out with the advice line and you can ask us for some help.
Or just message me. My DMs are open.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make like a document with the email and all of our
Yeah,
DMs.
we'll do.
Yeah,
do something.
DMs and
I
shit.
want to do an advice line if anyone is listening and watching it because I feel like it'd be quite fun.
I think that'd be a good plan.
Anyway, boys, thank you so much for watching, listening. I'm Jack. There's Campbell,
Hi. Bye.
Spencer. You're supposed to say bye, not
Sorry,
bye.
bye.
I realized that after I said it.
Joe
Goodbye, viewers.
and Beth. You're supposed to say goodbye.
What? We can't eat. There you go.
There we are. All right, boys. We're the Block Bros, and we'll see you potentially in 2 weeks' time. Adios.